Hey everybody, welcome back once again to Jack's Tech Corner and another Windows Server 2022 video. Now in this video, as the title said away, we are going to promote our server to become an Active Directory Domain Controller. Now this is needed. I mean, you can run it as a standalone just server, but basically it's going to be a basic workstation at that point. The power in Windows Server is being able to do things like DNS, DHCP, and being the place where it's managing all your user accounts and setting policies for your network and so forth. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to clear these services that we see here that have stopped for one reason or another, and we are going to just highlight them all, right click on it, say start service, see if we can get those services started. We discussed those in installing Windows Server, so if you haven't seen that video, go back and watch that one first. All right. So you have one service not running. I'm not really concerned with that right now. It's Microsoft Edge Update Service, which is okay. Just click OK on that. All right. So the first thing we're going to have to do to make this an Active Directory Domain Controller is we're going to have to add a couple roles. So click on Add Roles here. We're in the Server Manager dashboard. We'll click on Add Roles and Features. We will click on Next here. See if I can't move this box around a little bit. There we go. We'll click on Next. Roles based on feature-based installation. That's fine. We'll just click on Next. And select a server for the server pool. We only have one server, so we are going to select Next. This is where we're going to turn on those features that we're going to need. The first one here is going to be Active Directory Domain Service. Okay, so that's the first one. So we want to make it an Active Directory domain. It's going to tell you that there are some dependencies it's going to have to install here. You cannot install Active Directory unless the following roles and services features are installed. So if you just click on Add Features, it will set that up for us. Perfect. We're ready to go. The next thing I like to turn on my domain controller, unless you already have one on your network, is the DHCP server. So we're going to turn on DHCP because we're going to look at setting a DHCP server up here in another video. So click on OK. Continue. And DNS. Now, why do you want DNS to be on your primary domain controller? Because it's just easier when we go to connect workstations, and I'll show you how to connect a workstation up to your server, to have that DNS server localized on the primary domain controller. I've just found it to be very easy, and it's just a really good way to do it. Now, obviously, you can have a DNS server anywhere in your network, and you can have as many DNS services or servers running as you wish. DHCP, you can only have one. Always remember that we can only have one DHCP server on our network. So once we have those set up and ready to go, we're just going to simply click on Next. We don't need to touch anything else in features. Okay, so if you look over here, we were on Roles. We don't need any features other than the features that it said we were going to need. I'm just getting rid of that VirtualBox screen there that we were doing the setup. Click Next. Next. You can just click on Next to here, Next to here. Confirm the installation. So restart the destination server automatically if required. We'll do that because it's going to need a restart anyway. And we're going to click on Install. At this point, it's going to go ahead and install those roles for us and have our server set up as an AD, or an Active Directory Domain Controller. It's actually ADDC, Active Directory Domain Controller. Okay, and we're not going to watch this because it's like watching grass grow or paint dry. So I'm going to pause the video here, and I'll bring you back when we get this fully installed and ready to promote it. Okay, once everything is installed, it'll say feature installation, configuration required, installation succeeded on, and then the server name. So once that's all done, we're just going to simply hit close. And you can see here already that DHCP is installed now, as well as DNS. So everything is installed and set up, ready to roll. Okay. as well as the Active Directory Domain Services. So those are the 3 new roles that we've just installed. At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename the server, just to give it a purposeful name. Purpose name? A name that's going to make sense, okay? So if I just click on the file manager, you could do this 1,000 ways. I click on this PC and go to properties. At this point, once I'm into properties here, I just scroll down and I click on advanced system settings. Again, you might be saying, Jack, there's 1,000 ways you can do that. And I click on computer name. You can see now where the full computer name is kind of the install name, win dash and some kind of serial number there. And it's on a work group, right? Well, we're going to change this. We'll leave it on the work group until we promote this. But right now we're going to change this to, and I always give my servers a name that I could live with, right? So how about AD server 1? Okay, Active Directory server 1. Good enough. Click OK. And it's going to tell us we need a restart. So we're going to go ahead and we'll let that restart now, since we just got that name changed. I never know why this box doesn't resize to where I had it. It's always very interesting to see that it doesn't do that. But that's okay. Not a problem. Not a problem at all. Here, we'll get it restarted, and I'll resize it out to where it needs to be. And it looks like it just did it on its own. So that's good. That's very positive. I would suggest, if you're working with VirtualBox, to make sure that you install the add-on tools, the virtualization tools. It just gets it running better with the operating system, and I've noticed right away that it's running a lot smoother, even on this Mac, even on the iMac here as a virtual machine. So it's good to load the tools. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and log back into the server. So I'm just going to use my keyboard shortcuts up here and put my super secret password in. And what I do in my lab stuff when I'm working on labs like this, and even with my students, is make sure that you use the same password across the board for everybody. That way, when you work with somebody else or sit down with a student, or you're working in your lab on multiple servers, you just always know the admin password. Don't make a bunch of different ones. I mean, let's face it, these are lab computers, okay? All right, with that said, the server manager should populate back up here, and we'll give it just a second to reproduce itself. There comes the server manager. As you know, I told you in the last video, I like doing everything in server manager because everything is available here. Why go looking for anything? This is where we come up to. I leave it load every time, and I just do all my work out of the server manager. So we'll give it a second here to bring up these other services. You see it's still loading up here for us. All right, there's our Active Directory Domain Service. There's our DHCP, and there's our DNS. Okay, so everything is active and running. The next thing we have to do is promote this server to be an Active Directory Domain Server, or they call it a primary domain server, or you're creating that first object in your new forest. So just click on ADDS. When we do that, you'll see up here it says configuration required for Active Directory Domain Services at AD Server 1. That's the new server name. So we're just going to click on More right here at the very far right. More. Okay. It says promote this server to a domain controller. Click on that. Now, this is where I was just telling you about the forest. Okay, some engineers somewhere decided that instead of calling it a primary domain server or a primary domain controller, a backup domain controller, they decided that we're going to call it this forest thing. So we'll say new forest. We're going to give it a forest name. Let's call it, I don't know, we'll call it, the root domain name will be my servers. Yours could be your company name, but make it .local. The reason we use .local is because it's a local network. Okay, so when you make your domain, don't make it a .com or .org or any of those. It's just easier to make it .local because it's your local area network and the server's on the local network. Click next. So my server's .local. We're going to leave that. That looks good. Again, it could be any name. Remember, these are lab servers. Okay, it's loading this up. Here's something interesting for you. Well, look, force functional level, Windows Server 2016. My students got a kick out of this. They didn't add Server 2022 in the list. Thanks, Microsoft. We appreciate your efforts. So we are running it as a Windows Server 2016. It's going to be the functional level. Domain functional level, again, is Server 2016. And all that means, basically, is it's functioning as that level of a server. So your old workstations, now I'm saying not old, maybe Windows, I don't know, Windows 7, Windows 10, obviously, will connect into this and we can manage these. The students have been managing their Windows 10 machines. With this, we have not started managing Windows 11 yet, but I'm sure we will be getting into that very soon. Once we get some computers, obviously, that will run Windows 7. We now need a super secret password. I would make this your administrative password just because this is a lab again, and it's just easy. It's simple to remember one password. So we're going to do that. I'm going to tab down. I'm going to confirm that password. Okay, I'm going to click next. Here it is, specified DNS delegation options. Create a DNS delegation. So that's going to put this, a delegation for a DNS server cannot be created because the authorized parent zone cannot be found. Okay, so we are not going to click because that's why it's grayed out. It's not found yet. So that's okay. Don't worry about that. Let's go ahead and click next. The NetBIOS domain name, this will be the server name and it will self-populate. So we should see in there, if everything works right, AD server 1. Actually comes up my servers. Remember I made it my servers.local. So the NetBIOS domain name will be my servers. Make sense? Good. Not the computer name. I'm sorry. I told you it'd be the computer name. Is not the computer name. Next. Again, just follow along with me. Now, these folders are very specific. If I'm setting up a network and I'm setting up a new corporate office, I ordinarily do not like my database folder, my log files, and my sys volume folders to be on the C drive. If the C drive gets corrupted for any reason, I'm going to lose all those. And I feel it's better if I put those on another drive so I can retrieve those and have those log files to find out maybe like what happened, right? And the database folders would be more secure somewhere else. So what I do is have another drive in the server that you can put this stuff on. You could put it on a NAS. I've put it on many NASs, a network attached storage device, and have it completely off the server. As long as that connection's always there to the server, you're good. Those files can be copied anywhere. For the demo and for the lab, leave it as a C drive. These are just some kind of industry standard stuff I'm telling you to help you along when you're setting up your domain controllers. We'll just click next on this. It's reviewing your selections. Okay, click next. It's going to verify the prerequisites for the domain controller operation. So it's just looking again at that script that we basically just wrote by using this this editor. You can see we do have some exclamation points here. Don't worry about those. As long as you don't have any red tags coming out, that's what we're looking for. It says at the bottom, all prerequisites checks pass successfully. You can click the install. Okay, great. So don't worry about the exclamation points. Click install. This is going to start firing up all those roles that we need in there and putting everything together and configuring as a domain controller. So then you can control your domain. I mean, it's super great. Very easy to use Windows servers. The only time I found it wasn't, if you look at the install video, we had some of our students install the one without the GUI, without the graphical user interface. And yeah, that's a bit of a problem. I mean, you can do it, you can run it, and there's a lot of guys out there that do very well with it. But my students are not into that part yet where they can do a lot of command structure and do a lot of PowerShell. So, okay, it says you will be signed out. The Active Directory Domain Controller was installed. The computer is being restarted, so click Close. We're going to close this little box here. And the computer now, or the server, will restart. So let's give it a second here to refire back up. Again, I want to thank you for watching these videos here on Jack's Tech Corner. If you want to learn, obviously, install to administration of Windows Server, I don't have the 2022 videos up, obviously, yet. That's pretty new. But I do have Windows Server 2012 R2 up at jtclearning.com. jtclearning.com. It's a one-time fee. You pay it once and you're a lifetime member. So go over and check that out, that course, Windows Server 2012 R2. A lot of it has not changed over the years of how we manage servers and how we do things, but or follow along in these videos, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell notification, and just follow along with these videos, and you're going to learn a lot of the content that you need. So it all depends when you need it and how quickly you need it. Not fastly, quickly. So we're waiting for this server to boot back up here again. All right. It's applying all of our settings. And we'll get this server back up and running. Again, thank you so much for watching. It's you viewing the videos that drive me to actually produce these videos and know that you need them out there for your networks and to learn with me as far as putting this stuff together and me to being able to teach you. I do appreciate you watching the videos. Let me pause this until this comes back up here. Okay, we can see now when the server came back up that we are logging on to the domain. See where it says My Servers /administrator. Okay. So you're logging on now, and now this is a actual domain controller. So we've successfully completed the mission for this video, that's for sure. I'm going to show you here what you get once you successfully promote this thing and have it ready to go here. Again, I'm doing all of this on the you download the trial version, the demo version, and it's good. I told my kids too, it's good for 180 days. It's good for us in schools because we only have 180 days of school. And I just started teaching this, and we only actually have 127 days something left. So we have plenty of time to experiment with the server. You'll have plenty of time. Once you get to a point you're like, okay, I learned all that. I took all my notes. I got everything written down. The next thing you're going to find out is that you can just ditch the server and you can just reload another one and have a new 180 days. So, and I know that could be a pain, but you don't have to buy it to do your labs. That would be silly to do that. You do have to buy it to put it into a full industry service. You do have to do that. But so anyway, once we get this done now, we can see that we have manageability. We have the ADDS here. So manageability, if you click on that, you can see here where you have the services, the servers running, status of everything. So we have nothing really going on with that right now. If I click on the ADDS here, you can see now where it's been activated. The domain controller is activated. The server name is AD Server 1. And if we wanted to start playing around with this, I'll go back to the dashboard. This is why I like to use Server Manager. If I go to Tools, now you'll see where it says Active Directory Administrative Center, Domains and Trusts, Module and Windows PowerShell, Sites and Services, Users and Computers. So we have our DHCP on here now. We also have DNS. Again, we'll look at all this stuff later in another video. Today's video is primarily just setting up the server and promoting it to be an Active Directory domain service or domain controller. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'm sure I'm going to be bringing you more videos on Server 2022. So, tell your friends out there in the industry, hey, Jack's Tech Corner, Jack is back. Jack is back. And he's bringing you some new videos on Windows Server. So spread my name around out there. And like I said, I teach this stuff every day in a school setting. So I'm here to also help you and to educate some adult students out there in the world if you need help with this stuff. So thank you very much for watching. Again, if you're not subscribed, click the subscribe button, hit the little bell notification. Until next time, keep those servers running, and I'll talk to you very, very soon. See you then. Bye for now.